All right. So let's open up in prayer. I had several questions. Steve, what are you going to be discussing? Are you going to be talking at all? Are you just going to do Q&A? This is my, what time do we have? Okay, so it's 10 till. I wasn't supposed to start till, oh, cool, we're 2 minutes early. Hallelujah. Okay, so my prayer is this. We only got to do one question from Friday night. And I have had tons of people come to me with questions. So let's allocate 15 minutes right now regarding questions that will apply only to that of Friday night's message. Okay? That way we get a little more time for that. And then after that, we'll switch gears, usher ourselves into the end times, if you will. And for those of you, I can ask this question later. But then we'll go into end times Q&A. But for right now, let's open up in prayer. Father, we love you and we praise you, and we are so thankful, Father, to know that, one, we can even come to you in prayer, that you do hear us. Father, we're here together. We can learn, we can grow, we can rub shoulders together, iron sharpening iron. Father, that's what it's all about. There's not one person here who has all the answers. And I've had a great time speaking to all of the other speakers, and we're all in the same camp. We all know we're all just on a journey trying to grow and learn together. And I think that's what's just so cool. So Father, help us to continue down that path, not just through this next hour and a half that we have here together, but Father, through the rest of our lives as we go and try to take what we learned back to our homes, into our lives, to the people who we know back home. Father, whatever it may be, help us to continue to grow in you, in love one another. In Yeshua's holy name, and everyone agree by saying, Amen. Amen. Well, let me, I can't remember all the questions that were given down the stairs. I had a ton of questions regarding one, which I thought was a great question, and I don't have an answer to, I only have an opinion to, which is going to be 90% of all my answers, okay, opinion. So let's not forget that. One question was, Steve, well, what do you consider the perfect model of a church today? Okay, what should we be doing? And my answer was, I'm working on that. Okay? And so, all I can tell you, this is what our fellowship is doing right now. As I mentioned, we started in our home. It started completely by accident. When we moved here, my family was very worn out. We had been through a lot, and we really enjoyed Sabbath, just us. I'm just telling you like it is. We wanted nobody. We wanted just us. And then that season shortly ended. We met a new family who wanted to meet us, and hey, well, maybe we get together. Go, yeah, let's do it, And next thing you know, they find out. This person finds out. Next thing you know, we've got a house full. Okay, which is cool. I mean, seriously, it's cool. But again, it wasn't the Steve show. It wasn't anybody's show. It was just we're coming together. Let's do it. And seriously, what we would do, I would plug my computer into our TV, and we would go to torahfamily.org, and then we would start playing on the Torah portions. We'd play one chapter at a time, start discussing it. Okay. Now, but we quickly outgrew. We started realizing that when we were full and not everybody was there, we started thinking, man, if everybody came at the same time, we would really be hurting. Okay? And so we realized we got to do something. So we found a place to start renting. Okay, and then that worked out for a while. Then they didn't want us to stay there anymore. So right now, like I say, we're at an automotive place at their big waiting area, which is a really cool place. It sounds really weird being an automotive department, our place, but it really isn't a bad place. It's kind of cool, And but right now, what we're doing, we meet once every 2 weeks, normally the first and the third. Okay, this encourages us, one, to when we're not together as a big group, to get with another family or two if you want, or to enjoy it by yourself, which is what I do because I need it. Okay. Probably what we may end up doing, don't know. It'll be up to the group as a whole. But as we continue to grow, because right now we have around 50-ish, and if everybody came, it'd be 60-ish. If everybody came, okay. The cool thing about our group is that everyone is feels free to talk. Even with that big of a group, you're still there. But that's not normal. Okay, when you start getting to the 20 to 30 mark, you start having individuals start shutting down. Okay, and that's only normal. At the same time, when you get to smaller groups, some people don't like being in a smaller group because it singles you out. Everyone can see you. They like being incognito with a big group. So there's a pro and a con to both sides. So please understand, there's a positive and a need for both sides. Okay, this is Steve's opinion. Remember this. So, this is my current thought. Ask me tomorrow, maybe change a little bit. But I really think where we're going is in the current right direction for us. And because I really want to encourage smaller groups. That's where you can get the one-on-one. As we get bigger, let's say we grow to 100, I can promise you, the grand majority of those people will shut down in the discussion. 2 or 3 will be the dominant speakers. Okay. And that's only by default because they have no fear of talking in front of people. It's not a fault of anybody. It's natural human nature for all of us. Okay, please keep that in mind. We can't think, well, I'm not as good as, no, it's just not, you don't feel comfortable, hey, no problem. Don't cut someone down because they can't feel comfortable talking in front of big other crowds, okay? Now, so, as that happens, that's when I will all the more encourage when we are not meeting, smaller groups, guys. In fact, I can see us in the future going to once a month as a group. And then on the other 3, smaller groups. See, this keeps us connected once a month for the big group because we all love each other. We don't want to miss one another. But then at the same time, and then that's the time you want to invite a new person because then they can be the incognito and just sit back and say, what are they talking about? You know, and not have to feel like they're the only ones not talking. Okay? So they can sit back and listen and not feel intimidated because they're not talking. And then if they want to learn more, come to our house or come to our house next week or the next week after. They get that time. So there's a pro. I think that reaches the pros of both sides. Okay. Now here's a concern of mine. I've heard several people say, and it was brought to me yesterday, I want to bring it up. You multiply it up by division. I'm all about it. That's what I'm even showing right now. This is a pattern I think we should do. However, if you say, well, you go to that family's house, you go to that family's house, and you go to that family's house. Well, what if you don't want to go to this family's house? You want to go to that one? Well, who put you in charge to say where I have to go? Now we're right back to being who's a dictator. Right. Okay? And so, whereas if we would simply let it fall as the Father wills, meaning what? If we say we're only going to meet as a major group once a week, or once a month, I'm sorry, then we all come together. Then, by natural default, we will find those natural other fellowships start forming those other 3. And then, I want to go meet with him. And then I'll say, maybe you like him, but I'm not sure I can really gel with them, so let me go find someone else. And the next thing you know, those little groups start forming. Call it what you want, clique or not. Cliques are natural. I grew up in doing youth ministry, and I remember preaching against cliques. Well, I'm sorry, cliques are natural. Guess what? We're a clique. I'm just telling you. To the world out there, they're all about themselves. Is it what we call a clique? Us 4 no more? Here's our 4 walls. Okay? So that's natural. Okay? So my point is, cliques you're going to find people who you naturally gel with. And this is sorry, I'm doing all the talking. Maybe I have to do 20 minutes for this segment. I have had a hard time. I remember when we started tourfamily.org, I had a hard time keeping up with emails. And to this day, right now, I'm around, I just reviewed it, and I thought it was 8,000, I'm around 7,000 emails in the whole. Okay. And for the longest of time, I felt very convicted, very condemned. I condemned myself on it. And folks, it's hard reaching to everybody. I want to, but I can't. And it wasn't until, it's not like I have all the answers for little Pete, but, whoever Pete is, but I realized I had to pray about this. I'm going, Father, I want to answer these, but then some of these emails, it's like it takes an hour just to write it out for them because they got these deep theological questions. And then when you send it to them, 5 minutes later, they go, what about this? You're going to start a conversation, you know? And it's not that I don't want to do that, but there's so many people who have legitimate questions I want to get to too, and I can't get to them. And it hit me. I'm going, you know what? The Messiah only invested into 12 men. And of those 12, only 3 to 4 he had by himself, right by his side. And suddenly I realized, take that guilt off my shoulders. I will do my best. If people get offended at me because it's been 3 years since I haven't answered their email, well, I'm sorry. You know, he's always going to be there for you. You know, but why did I go down that path? I had a really good point to make. The point being is, I think I wanted to make, is we need one another, and we need those smaller fellowships. As we grow in our fellowship, I can't meet everybody's need. And I've already learned, I'm not going to try. I can't please everybody. I want to, because that's my nature. I want to please everybody. But I have had to force that down in me and say, stop it. Just do what you can. And in that, I have found a newfound freedom. I do what I can. And so, in this model that I am currently leaning to, is that, again, meet once every 2 weeks or 1 week of the month, okay? And then let the smaller groups start dividing out themselves throughout the other 3. And that is if you've grown beyond your 30, 40, 50, 60. Or if you're at that mark and people are still feeling comfortable, then that's cool. Then stay where you're at. But as you get growing, I would strongly encourage you, home fellowships. It's all about that. But I'm all about coming back together as a whole. In essence, and this is going to sound almost kind of wrong, but when you come together, your big group still once a month, it's almost like a mini Moedim, okay? Like, because you're all, it's just your little local fellowship that's all around you. Some coming from maybe 2 or 3 hours and just 15 minutes down the road, and you're there once a month. And then you get the big ones where people come from miles and miles away, okay? That's my current understanding. Wrong or right, again, ask me tomorrow, it may be changed, but that's where I have been leaning more and more and more, okay? So, I'm sorry?
Hot luck on Rochford.
Yeah, right, there you go.
That's biblical.
I think so too.
I don't know whether it's a new moon or the head of the month. If it's the head of the month, think about that.
Yep.
The head of the month, that's when you get together.
Right, yeah.
That's Moed, it could be month, you know.
Oh yeah, I'm with you. Yep, I have that on my calendar teaching. Okay, so that being said, we have a question right here. Who's first? What do you go first? So, okay, what's your question?
Well,
No, back there, I'm sorry. Then I'll get you next. My apologies. He had his hand up first.
Yeah, we're in line.
Make it loud.
I'm just Chris.
Okay.
My question is, when we have the New Jerusalem, the people are on the outside.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, New Jerusalem, we're talking after millennium.
Yes.
Okay?
There are people on the outside.
Okay, this sounds like an end times question. Can we keep this applicable to church mentality right now? Okay, cool. So right now, real quick, we are at 11:03, so at 11:15, we're switching gears. Okay? Ma'am, go ahead.
so just a comment, just in the fellowships, one thing that I've noticed in your fellowship,
She's a part of our group.
even the children make comments, can ask questions.
Yes.
So it's, we'll do the Torah portion in chapter, and it is open discussion. Nobody's excluded.
Mm-hmm.
The children can even ask questions.
That's right.
But the other thing, there used to be Simcha around this area, and it was
Simcha was a big group that would meet every few months or whatever.
Once a month.
Oh, once a month,
It was
okay.
every month, and they tried to do it the closest Shabbat to the new moon.
Right.
And that's kind of what you're saying. And
Exactly.
It was wonderful for me because I was starting to come in and trying to find people, and that was a wonderful way to meet people from Fellowship in Missouri and Oklahoma, and
Yep.
it's just a wonderful thing.
Amen.
So,
Amen.
yeah.
And to her point about the children too, and it's difficult because some children just can't sit still. Let's face facts. Some can really good. You do what you can. And in our fellowship, we all have had children, so we know it's not a big issue. And for those children who can sit and play, we let them put little toys or whatever while we're discussing. And let's face facts, we adults can get some really deep conversations, and next thing you know, things ramble. So they can lose interest real quick. While the younger ones who are like growing up in your 8, 9, 10, they're getting a little interest, they want to hear. It's just, I think it's important for them to be there if they can. Don't, if you're a parent and your child can't, don't condemn yourself. You do what you can. Okay, and if you have a parent who's in that situation, you encourage them. Okay, because please, they need you. Okay. All right. Next question. Anybody? Oh, is that it? No questions on church? Yes, ma'am.
I have a question, just an observation of years of being in Torah.
Can you talk loud for us?
I have 3 daughters, different ages.
Uh-huh.
I think it's really important, and I think the truth is that the kids get eyes glazed over, knowledge. We don't want them to resent the Sabbath as our knowledge.
That's right.
And so finding the kids in the group and appointing the children that have natural leadership skills, appointing those that want to put on praise and worship to keep them engaged because they're hungry.
Amen.
They're not hungry for the same vegetables we are.
Amen. You go, girl. That's a good way to say that.
So they need a place.
Maybe that's right.
Because the last thing we want is to have our children's eyes glazed over. They need to be fed, encouraged in the spirit, and knowing that don't be looked down upon just because you're small. You're mighty, and the spirit is within you, and encouraging that. And they need to feed each other. They need that just as much as we do, but I think they need their own group.
Amen. I'll never forget when I first came to Torah and I'm learning and growing, and someone challenged me. Well, I don't have any servants. So I go into the store. They're not my servants, but the second you pay them to do something, guess what? They're serving you. You're paying them to serve you. They're your servant. If they had to open up the door for you to come in, you paid a servant on Shabbat. They worked for you on Shabbat. You don't have to have a servant to have a servant. Are you with me? Yes. Okay. We're on the same page. Question? Anywhere? Ma'am.
So we talked about clicks being natural and human nature. Some people are willing to speak up and some aren't.
Yes.
What do you do, or how have you handled it in your situation? Have you had someone who has wanted to dominate or domineer?
Absolutely.
How have you handled that?
You handle it with a strong hand. I'm just telling you. This is why I am very affirmative of why it should be in homes. Because if you come to my house, guess who's in charge of my house? Me. Okay? And if I'm going to go to your house, guess who's in charge of your house? You. You allow what's in your house. So, if someone starts talking out of order, I'm sorry, brother, you need to hold on here a second. Okay? You want to believe that? That's fine. And I have no problem with someone giving their opinion on a topic of any kind. But don't start forcing me, saying, I have to leave it. No. You enter through that threshold, this is mine. You can keep your opinion, but this is what I'm going to say goes. Now, if you don't like it, guess what? You have a home. Start your own fellowship. I'm not offended to that. And you can take every single person who's in this room. If they want to go listen to you, I'm not going to stop them. I will warn them, saying, guys, I think that's wrong. Okay? But I'm not their commander. He is. I'm not intimidated. If I lose every single one of my parishioners next week, guess what? I'm still having Shabbat in my home. Okay? That's it. And now, whenever we come to our big group, okay, well, guess who's renting that facility? Steve. Okay, yes, we all pitch in for it, but my name is on that roll. As far as who's signing that bill, who's going to do this, who's responsible, something gets broken, it's on me. Then now that becomes my home, because I'm responsible. So therefore, I'm in charge. Now, if you want to be the one who takes charge, have at it. I'm just there to learn and grow. Okay? And I don't like having leadership. And someone mentioned to me the other day, I should have said it, it's more of a facilitating. It's just facilitating, making sure Yahweh's word is being learned and grown in together. Okay? And it's okay to differ. If someone comes to my fellowship and wants to differ with me, dude, I'm totally cool. If you came to my Sukkot, you guys know, our Sukkot, you know that I'm very cool with that. But don't start trying to dictate and tell somebody that they have to follow what you believe. There's a thing that, matter of fact, I talked to Angela the other day, I said, as our fellowship is growing, I think we need to do what we did for Sukkot. And she goes, what's that? I go, well, on our Sukkot, I'll get you in a second. I said, if on our sign-up form, I said something of the nature, forgive me, I'm not going to be word for word, but if you believe you have the correct way of pronouncing Yod He Vav He, and it is your mission to tell everyone that your way is right, chances are this Sukkot is not for you. If you believe you have the proper definition of how the world is made, and you feel it's your mission to tell everyone how it should be done or reviewed, then chances are this Sukkot is not for you. And then I said, this Sukkot is not your opportunity for your mission field. This Sukkot is for us to grow together and love one another at Yahweh's Moedim. Period. And that is how I also view Shabbat. This is a time for rest. I'm sorry, I'm rambling again. Forgive me. I'll take questions in a second, but I feel like I got to say this. When we were living in Costa Rica, this was in the last couple of years of it, and we had some friends come down from Idaho or Oregon, and they're on the other side of the lake. So, hey, come on over. We rented a big house for the next couple of months. We're going to start doing Shabbat here, whatever. Let's do this one at ours. Let's do it. So we went over there, and they invited a new friend they didn't even know from way down south, just north of Panama. And they didn't know him, but they knew they celebrated Sukkot, or the feast and stuff. And so, hey, come on over. So they made the long journey on up, which was like a long drive. We're talking like hours, 4 or 5 hours. And we get there. I meet the guy, cool guy. Meet his wife, nice guy, nice lady. And next thing I know, he pulls out this 3-inch binder. And for the next 4 hours, he starts saying how his way of pronouncing Yod He Vav He is the right way. He just took over. And so at the end of it was all said and done. I was going to rebuttal. I had some good points I could rebuttal. I'm thinking, you know what? His mind is made up. It's like, it's going to be arguing with the stop sign. Okay? And so I just let him talk. And then then he made a statement at the end that kind of like, I go, wait, what did he say? And so I asked a question. I said, so you're telling me that if I don't pronounce Yod He Vav He the way you just said, that I'm going to go to hell? And you know what he said? What he did? There it is. That's what he said. I said, it's time to go, guys. I'm really sorry. I grabbed my wife. We got the heck out of Dodge. And I went home. I was so doggone fuming. I mean, I needed a Shabbat from a Shabbat. And I didn't like it. That guy stole my peace on the day of God's peace. And I didn't like it. So I'm very protective of who is in charge. Okay? And so you say, Steve, you sound very vindictive. Yes, because I've seen it abused. I've seen it abused to the nth degree. I've been in ministry now for all these years of my life. I've been in ministry for over 30 years now. And I have seen it abused beyond reason. I have seen ministers abused on the other side, because I've been one of them. I had a deacon's wife come at me, yell at me for 5 minutes, 15 minutes straight. Pointed finger, yelling at me at the top of her voice. So I know what it's all about, having the ministers abused too. I've been there. Don't tell me I haven't been. Doggone it, it's time for the church to be the church. That means to walk in humility. Sorry I'm yelling. The Bible says to work out your own salvation in fear and trembling. Now listen to me. I said this to somebody yesterday. It's in one of my messages. I don't know which one. Too many people are working out their salvation in pride and arrogance. Not fear and trembling, but in pride and arrogance. They have their salvation, and doggone it, they're going to show you how you're supposed to live your salvation. That's not fear and trembling. That's pride and arrogance. I have it all figured out. Let me show you how it's done. That's pride and arrogance. Walk in fear and trembling, knowing He's the one who has the answers. And doggone it, He's in heaven, you're on earth, so let your words be few, Solomon said. Our words should be few. We got so many people wanting to blah, 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 blah. It's time for us to walk in humility. Yes, sir.
You and I had a conversation the other day, and
Talk loud so I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm thankful for the
Yes.
And I'm thankful for what you just said, because I'm a pastor 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I have said to you, to Philip, and to Zach, my wife and I work really hard at this,
Mhm.
in congregational ministry,
Mm-hmm.
and we feel like a leper
Yep.
in our community.
I know it.
And you said to me, it's because of all of the abuses, and believe me, I don't defend anything of mixture, whether it's leadership, whether it's a pastor, but we have been so hurt in this movement by people coming in with all the answers.
Yep.
With total disrespect.
Yep.
And we are humble leaders, and I just simply say to the body, there is still a place, I believe, for congregational ministry, and you've said that.
Absolutely.
In addition to small groups, Father, our story is a miracle story. I was a Lutheran pastor, and then we would often say years supernaturally by Him opening our eyes. And I just say, please, we may differ on this because I think there's a whole lot in the Brit Hadashah about leadership.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about the end from the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
I don't see a 2,000-year gap without leadership in God's people.
Oh, I'm not saying there's a lack of leadership.
I'm just, but it sounds like, because it sounds like until the King comes, we are to do what's right in our own eyes. And I think that we should do what's right in Yahweh's eyes.
That's right.
In Yahweh's eyes. I
Absolutely.
really do, and strive for that. And so the issue is really for all of us to strive hard to walk in the Spirit.
That's it.
Because Paul says, I warn you that those who do these things will not inherit the kingdom.
That's right.
So, that's my only word, is to say, somebody said it in another talk, and it was saying, Jonah was called to the city, John the Baptist was called to the wilderness. And so Father's gifted us with a 23-acre campus that's paid for, and we keep trying to invite Jew and Gentile there for the truth. We pray that we're a light to the community.
Absolutely.
We're not a small group. We're not a home fellowship. We're a congregation, and I'm a pastor, and I know that I'm still called. I couldn't even survive being sued, and the divisions that I've gone through, the Jezebel attacks have been off the chain.
Yep.
As much in the Hebraic
Yeah.
as
Probably worse.
as in the church world. So anyway, that's the only thing I want to say is and thank you for letting me share that.
Yeah, sure.
Anyway, I love the Lord, and there's many pastors to do, and there's
Oh, trust me. Like I said to you yesterday, I have several friends who have fellowship. One's in the midst of building a building right now, a nice, awesome facility. I have friends who already have theirs, and they're building a little college now. It's going. I love these guys, and not only do I love them, I'll defend them at the drop of a hat, because I know their hearts, and it sounds like you got the same heart too for the people.
I love the Wait video. Every time I watch it, I weep. I really do. And I relate to so many people in that video, men and women. The man at the end, the little guy that was the woodworker, says, "Who am I?"
Mm-hmm.
Your words, your wife's words. But that pastor, Jason Towle, at the end, he just really gets me.
Jason's what I was talking about.
That's my heart. And so there's just some of us still out there.
I know.
And it's miraculous that we're even in this movement, that God has moved us so far,
Everyone has a place and a purpose, and the Father's got us where we need to be. As long as we're doing that, and I think that's the thing is, the importance of, here's the thing. I need to wrap this up. Forgive me. Okay. The whole element of people saying, well, this person did that, then that makes something right. Okay, well, you know what? Yahweh told Joshua to take the people and walk around Jericho 7 times. So why aren't we doing that? Okay, Yahweh told Gideon to go take 300 men and go break the pots and yell all the top runner around the Philistines. So why aren't we doing that? Because certain commands go to certain people at certain times. Okay, and but the Torah is what? For all and for all generations. Certain commands go for certain people, whatever that is. And that's why it's important, because Yeshua said what? Let him who has ears hear what the Spirit says to the churches. See, because here's the thing. I'm going to tell you right now. It may offend you. Uh-oh. Buckle the seatbelt. Torah is the foundation. There can be things that are not in the Torah that can be sin. Example, when Yahweh told Joshua, you will do this and go take the people around Jericho 7 times and this and the other. What if he said, you know what, I don't know about that. We've got the Torah right here. Moses gave us the Torah. That's all we got to do. So I'm not going to do that. Would that be sin?
Yes.
Yahweh told him, you do this.
Yes.
It would be sin. So that's why it's important to hear the Spirit. We all know the Torah is the foundation. That's for every single one of us. Okay? But when he speaks to your heart and you know he's talking to you, you know it. You can do whatever you want to try to justify your little sin here. This isn't that bad. Whatever it is, you know what he's talking to you. Last minute.
Yes, thank you. I just want to say, even when Israel got a king, it was not united. And that's been the painful song over God's people.
Yep.
Is the disunity. So even when they got the king, and I even wonder, as I read the prophets, and the king comes back with a rod of iron, with a threat that if you don't do the feast, if you don't do Sukkot, there's not going to be rain. I wonder, at least initially, how much unity there will be.
Oh, well, at the end, they rise up against.
So anyway, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I had a question back here. We're going to make this the last one back here. The little girl, she had a question for you. She's been waiting for a while. Yes, ma'am.
I was just wondering, there is a difference between opening up a door for someone and it being your job to open up a door for someone. It's like doing it because.
Oh, yeah.
Servant.
You're being a servant. You're being kind. It's being, yeah. Yep. Yep. So it's not work. Yeah. Is that what your question is? You know, here's the thing. I was talking to somebody yesterday. It's like the things that we call work, the Hebrews will laugh at us today. I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
You go to a police. I had a friend who was a police officer, and her job at that time, she'd already worked the streets, she'd been working on the highways, state trooper. And her job at that time, she had to work on Shabbat, and she had to work at a casino boat, and her job was to make her rounds every 30 minutes, and in between those 30 minutes, she had to be in her office, so they knew where she was at if they needed assistance on anything. That was her job. To walk around with her gun, making sure all is good, once every 30 minutes, and then go sit down the other 29. You tell a Hebrew that's work, they'll laugh in your face 2,000 years ago. Okay, so the things we call work aren't always work. Okay, all right, for the sake of time, we really got to get going, because I know there's going to be a lot of questions on the end times. Can we go ahead and start switching gears? All right, hallelujah. All right, let's switch gears over. Now, so have you ever been to my website? If not, let me show you what it looks like. Let me get this program here. I loaded it. Hopefully it stays loaded. This is our website. And this is our latest teaching. That's the Men of Yahweh teaching there. That was a message I did not too long ago in Tulsa, Oklahoma. This is my latest teachings, the 70 years, trying to understand the 70 years, which I think is a great teaching. This is our spiritual growth, just released yesterday. And but anyway, so if you want to ever go, I suggest this right here, a Faith Foundations page. This is what it looks like. This is all of my teachings on defending the faith. Okay, on learning how to defend the faith, and I have several others actually I'm going to need to add into that page. This is almost all of these teachings are going to be right around 10 to 15, 20 minutes. I try to keep them right there. They're great teachings to share to friends, okay, who you want to show. But I think they're just as equally important for us to listen to and get them in our mind, so we don't have to say, watch this. You have the knowledge for yourself, okay? Another page I've got here. This is our End of Days series. If we're going to be talking lots of stuff, I'm going to be referring to this. I'm going to say, watch this teaching. Like this one right here, the 1 year tribulation. People laugh at that until they watch the teaching. You know, and people say, that's 3.5 years, 1,000. No, trust me. The prophets point to 1 year. 1 year. Yeshua said it will be cut short. Watch this teaching. It'll wreck your theology if you're stuck on a 7-year or a 3.5 year time. I promise you. And I will do it all in Scripture. Okay? Now, you can disagree with it, but I'll tell you right now, you're going to disagree with a lot of Scripture. Okay? And I'm open, but you need to come to me with it. Okay? Now, this is our End of Days teaching. For those of you who talk about timeline, I'll discuss the timeline. I did this teaching called the winter timeline. It's more so, it can be applied to any year, okay? What's this other one? This is all of my teachings. You go to the Steve's Teachings page. This is all of the teachings that I have on our website. We have quite a few. Yeah, quite a few. Then let's see what's else. This is my wife's page, Woman's page. She has several teachings here, lots of different things to do for the holy days, if you will, different things for the children. She has lots of recipe links, stuff, activities for the children, fun stuff to do. This is our children's page. This is where our children teach. It's so funny. When we started this is not our daughter here. This is just a little girl, a picture of a little girl. And then I had someone tell me, why didn't you use Nadia's picture? I go, I don't know. So when Levi started teaching, we brought Levi's picture in. Okay? And Levi's still making those. And Nadia has outgrown that phase. She's going to be doing teen teachings here this next year, Lord willing, as we get things going. She's getting excited about it. And this is our daily devotions page. This is actually last month. We have daily devotions come out every day. They're 2 minutes long. If you haven't been there, trust me, it's a great start. I get lots of people saying, I needed that. Just 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Who can't do 2 minutes? Me. Then slow down. Okay, next. All right. Now, hide this. When it comes to end times, there's always questions. There's always debates when it comes to end times. I saw Zach. Where's Zach at? He's talking end times. As I mentioned yesterday, me and Zach, we go way back. And we are just good friends. There's just no way around it. And we started home studying a long time ago. And even then, I remember him talking about the 144,000 being children. I looked at him going, and then I'd say something, he looked at me, and we'd go back and forth and having fun. There's always going to be differences. And I was talking to someone yesterday. I even have teachings that contradict my other teachings. And now, it sounds funny, because it is funny. But here's the thing. It's not like a contradiction. What I'm going to say is, look, if this is the way it's supposed to be interpreted, we got to look at this perspective. And then put that out there. Then all of a sudden, 4 or 5 months down the road, hey guys, here's another perspective. We need to look at this one, because what if this is wrong and that's wrong, and this one could be right? So I have got multiple teachings that say, this could be a season you should be watching, because this could be this, and this. And then it can lead into this and this, and it all explains why. So it's not like they contradict, it's showing the options of how things will work out. That's why I don't take them down. I want to leave them all up. Because I believe when it comes to end times, have all your options on the table. Don't be stuck on one. That's a great way to be deceived. Because if you're sold on one perspective and it doesn't work out, then what do? I don't know. And I still have questions on things. I scratch my head all the time. Look how much I scratch my head. All the time. I don't have the answers. I'm trying to get them. Okay? But we need to be very willing to say, boy, that's a perspective I never thought of. You don't have to agree with it. Keep it on the back burner and think, boy, I want to keep this, just consider it. You know what I'm saying? So those are things we have to do. Now, are the river ones in here? I heard they spoke yesterday. I missed their presentation on the moment that I did. And they were saying how evidently they were looking at the 2030 or 33, something like that. There's lots of timelines. I've heard 2024, 2028, and now I've heard the 2030 element, and then I heard 2044, 45, those years, okay? And I've heard lots of arguments, and I don't say they're wrong. I'll say I don't see it, but that doesn't make me right either. Just as much as I think I've got several perspectives and I don't know which one's right, same principle applies for when it could happen. That's like on my winter timeline teaching. I show when things happen, this will be the order, okay? No matter when it starts, this will be a similar order of how it will work out, all right? I strongly encourage you, matter of fact, we'll try to look at that a little bit perspective. So, if I say something that just kind of rubs you the wrong way, don't take it the wrong way. Take it as something, gee, I never thought of that. I need to pray about it. That's all I'm asking you, okay? Now, real quick, and then we'll get into the questions. because I had lots of comments and thoughts on people was like blown away when I made this teaching. And let me bring in my keynote. In order to make sure you see it all real good, I'm not going to go complete full screen. I'm going to just blow it up. This is the 1 year time frame, okay, of how it works. So let me go ahead and just enlarge it just a little bit. Okay, that's too much. Excuse me. Let's do that. A little better. Okay. Follow my mouse, if you will. You can see right here, I'm not going to get into all the minor details, okay, but Yeshua comes, okay, and I think it's going to come just before Purim element. And I have a teaching simply titled The Assyrian. If you have not seen that teaching, it is crucial. For you to understand the end times, it is crucial. Why? Because people think Israel is going to be undefeated. Folks, Israel gets defeated. It says that it gets almost like three-fourths, I forgot what the actual number is, but it gets wiped out. Okay? All but defeated. And then what happens? It rises up. This is the Assyrian who comes in and conquers. And in my opinion, I also mentioned this in my teaching, Satan's Greatest Masquerade. If you want to understand Daniel 9:27, watch Satan's Greatest Masquerade. Satan's Greatest Masquerade will blow your mind if you think you understand Daniel 9:27. Because we have not been looking at it from a Hebraic perspective. We have been not looking at the Hebrew words that are mentioned in it. Okay, and I wish I had time to break into it, but I can't reteach that teaching. I encourage you. I even explained, that teaching explained why Yeshua had blood on him when he crosses over Mount of Olives into Jerusalem. Have you ever thought about that? Why does he have blood on him when he's coming through to conquer Jerusalem, okay, and to win, and he's the conquering Savior here? Why does he have blood on him? Because he already fought the Battle of Armageddon, which is also called the Battle of Armageddon, as you probably know it as, down at Mount Sinai. You see, Yeshua, this conference is all about the enemy known from the beginning. Okay? When Yahweh brought his people out of Egypt, what did he do? He took them to Mount Sinai. To what? Enter into covenant. The marriage covenant. He says, I will be your husband. There's a new movement out there saying, they were never married. And going, what? Also, when Yahweh says, I'm your husband, he was lying. He said that to Israel. I am your husband. And then when he divorced them, oh, well, that's just a metaphor. That's all metaphors. That's the way Yahweh talks in metaphors to show us how he loves us. Are we really his children? It's metaphors. Okay? Everything is metaphors. He uses metaphors to show us how he reaches out to us. So, just as he took his people out of Egypt and entered into covenant, he will take us out of Babylon. Resurrection. Yes, I believe in the resurrection. Beforehand. I'll explain where the second Exodus goes in a second. He takes us to where? Mount Sinai. To do what? Enter into the what? Marriage covenant. Read Revelation 18:19. It's all about the marriage supper of the Lamb.
Ezekiel 22.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Now, so the whole point is, he's going to take us out, take us to Mount Sinai, enter into covenant. Then what happens? Tribulation takes place. Now, here's a parallel. What happened, we all know. How does it say? They got out of Egypt. And now all of a sudden, how long were they at Mount Sinai before Yahweh said, it's time to go to war? Anybody know?
1 year.
1 year.
Yeah.
Why did he do 1 year? Because Deuteronomy chapter 24 verse 5 says that if a man takes a woman to be his bride, he has 1 year not to go to war or have anything laid upon him. He entered into marriage covenant. He kept his law and did not go to war. When the honeymoon was over, number the men, time to go to war. And numbering the men. Whoa, well, check this out. Why did David get in trouble for numbering the men? Because he wasn't supposed to. Yahweh numbers the men back here. He numbered everybody coming out and then numbers the men for battle. Then we have the 144,000 in Revelation. Well, who are they? Why are they numbered? When was the last time he numbered them? For war. These are the army. These are the men who will ride behind Yeshua at Armageddon. This is the 144,000. I discussed this in my Church of Philadelphia teaching. I strongly encourage you to watch that teaching. It answers lots of questions. Okay. Now, I'm sorry, I said it was a Q&A. I'll get there in a second. I want to lay a groundwork because like you said, you didn't watch any of my teachings. So, the whole element, he's at Mount Sinai with his bride. Satan takes the anti-Messiah, surrounds Mount Sinai with his bride, and then attacks. He breaks the 1 year, cuts it short, then he saves his people. Where does he go next? Prophet says he goes to the tents of Judah. He saves Judah in Basra before he goes to Jerusalem. Prophets say that. He says he saves the tents of Judah before he saves Jerusalem. It's all in this teaching, Satan's Greatest Masquerade. Now Basra, if I can show you this one on a map. Here's Israel, okay? Here's Jordan. And then you got Saudi Arabia. Mount Sinai is in Saudi Arabia, right down here. On a map, Basra is just northeast of where Mount Sinai is at. When Yeshua said, when you see Jerusalem being surrounded, flee to the wilderness, to the mountains, these are the Jews who are believers in Yeshua who flee to Basra. Check it out. He even talks about he's taking them there on what? Eagle's wings. Whoa, that sounds like Revelation. Because it is. So the next part is, the next thing you find, he saves them, and then he makes a direct, straight line on the east side of the Dead Sea, bringing life. He's resurrecting the Dead Sea. Okay? And then when you get on the very top, if you look at the map, you look at the very, very, very tip top of the Dead Sea, and you are on the east side of it, and you go due west, guess what you're going to run into? The Mount of Olives. He comes from the east, heading due west, splits the Mount of Olives, enters into Jerusalem as the conquering king. And guess what? He's got blood on him. Because why? He just defeated the enemy back at Mount Sinai. It's all there in the prophets. We've got to get the church mentality of all these things we've learned out of our head and get into the prophets and dig into what they say. And am I saying all my stuff is right? No, but doggone it, I think I got a lot of mixed truth in there. We just got to decipher where I'm right and where I'm wrong. Okay? I encourage you, please watch that teaching, Satan's Greatest Masquerade. Okay, that's the foundation for what I believe. Questions? Everyone's going, what? Question right here. Make it loud so everyone can hear you.
Okay, so it's just a question.
Yes, and I'm just Steve.
Yeah. So, do you think that after the resurrection of the dead, believers can still die or be killed?
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay. Regarding the resurrection. Okay, first, if you're still thinking Steve's off the deep end, believing in a preacher of resurrection, please, I'm begging you, please, read my very short article, simply titled "Pre-Trib." I show how the prophets are saying there is a pre-trib resurrection. Yeshua himself said in Luke 21:35, pray that you are able to escape all these things and stand before the Son of Man. Stand before the Son of Man is marriage language. Just stand before the Son of Man. What did they do? Whenever they're standing at Mount Sinai, Yahweh says, gather all the people do what? Stand before the mountain. It's time for the marriage. What did they say? He said, I want you to do this, this, and another. What did they say? We will do what you said. They committed to the covenant. They stood before him. We're waiting for the new covenant. We're waiting for the marriage. We will stand before him. So, your question. Can someone die after the first resurrection? Absolutely. Because the first resurrection will be what I call the Church of Philadelphia. The 144,000 are the men of that group. Okay? Now, they will be with Yeshua at Mount Sinai. The other 6 churches will have to go to the time of purification. Because if you don't purify yourself now, you don't purify yourself now, he will purify you then. The tribulation is not for the world, it's for the body of the Messiah. He will purify his church and make them ready. Matter of fact, let's real quick. Did I answer your question? Because what happens is, these people who survive the tribulation, okay, because it says he cuts short. Because if he didn't cut the time short, no man would survive. That means there's still his people who need to be saved. Okay? So therefore, he cuts that time short. And then in Isaiah and Jeremiah also talks about the shepherds. He sends them out and brings them back. Okay? These are the people in their regular existing bodies will continue living through the millennium. In the millennium, by the end of the millennium, you have multiple population beyond reason. Matter of fact, check this out. Have you ever wondered why the Bible says in Revelation 21:22, I think it's 21, where it says there'll be no more oceans? You ever wondered why? during the millennium, they will continue to recede and recede and recede. Why? To make room for the population of this world that's going to be going crazy. Okay? And then that is fulfilling the promise. What did Yahweh say to Abraham? Your seed will be like what? The sands of the sea. Because why? They're living on the sands of the sea. They will be the sands of the sea. Where the seas are gone, there's your seed. They're all over. It's crazy cool how Yahweh just uses these things and overlaps them. Real quick, I'm going to pull up Isaiah because everyone likes to question the element of the second. Did I answer your question?
I believe so.
Okay, because it even says during the millennium, it says if someone dies at the age of 100, they're considered what? A child.
A child.
That means they're going to be the whole time. Remember, Acts 3:21 says that he must remain in heaven until the restoration of all things. See, it's all about restoring all things. He's going to then one of the things being restored is how long we live. They live how long? So that will come back again.
And so, yes, people do die in the millennium. Just, I guess the question is also the people who take part in the first resurrection have a renewed body. Their body isn't necessarily immortal, it's just another body to dwell in.
You mean those who are resurrected?
Those who are resurrected.
Those who are resurrected will have a renewed body, just like Yeshua. Because Paul said that when he comes, we will be like him. So those who are a part of the first resurrection will be having an eternal body that will not, it's incorruptible.
And will that body...
1 Corinthians 15 is a great chapter, a whole chapter for that.
And those bodies can still die until they eat of the tree of life, or is it...
No. My understanding is that, because it's incorruptible. Okay, but the tree of life is what keeps the freshness. It's a way of life. Okay, that's what it is. And that's a whole different ballgame. But yeah, after you're resurrected, you can't die again. Okay, and that goes into an element of, well, what about those who are going to like fire? Do they die? There's a belief, and you may believe it, that you're just burned up and are no more. I don't hold to that because it's an incorruptible body. And when that which is incorruptible, it can't be corrupted. It's not going to die. It will. And that's why also Isaiah talks about how their worm will never die. Okay, because it's corrupted and it's constantly corruption. An example. How much time do we got? The element of when we lived in Costa Rica and we had a farm. I had a chicken die. I put it on the box. That's my favorite chicken, my rooster. And well, he died. I was in the middle of several teachings. I couldn't go and bury him right away, so I just kind of set him to the side so the chicken wouldn't mess with him. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm working my teachings, and then 24 hours later, Angie goes, "Steve, it's starting to stink up there," you know. And so I go, "Oh man, I forgot about him." So I went out and I dug the hole first, you know, and then I got my shovel, and immediately I picked the chicken up, and there were worms all over. I mean, like the internal, the gross stuff, you know what I'm saying? And immediately it hit me, I'm going, the worm doesn't die. And the thing is, in hell, the lake of fire, it's eternal death. It's a constant eating of you. A constant. The worm. Because what happens is, this is even in a human body, we have parasites and all these different things that are in us that are keeping each other in check. But the second you stop the breath of life coming in, those parasites that overcome the negative parasites, well, they die. So the negative parasites then do what? Start eating your body. And as they grow, they become the worms. And when those worms start eating your body, okay, then when do they die? When your body is completely gone. Isaiah said their worm will never die. Okay, so that's a whole that's the hell teaching thing. And I have a teaching on hell, not the eternal lake of fire, but it's the Pharisees versus Sadducees. Because all the arguments you see today, those arguments were around in the first century. That's why I called it Pharisees versus Sadducees. Pharisees believed life after death. Sadducees didn't. Okay, we're in the same argument. You know, who's right? It's not a salvation issue, folks. I'm just telling you right now. So please don't divide over that type of topic. There's so many topics we can agree to disagree on, and that's definitely one of them. Isaiah 24 is about the earthquake. And let's go to Isaiah 66. Isaiah 66. I'll make my text a little bigger for you here so you can possibly read it. Talking about the second Exodus. Now, Isaiah 66, you read it, it is all about the end times. Okay, I ain't going to go into all the details. Verse 15 talks about, "So see, Yahweh is coming with fire, and his chariots are like a whirlwind. He will bring down his anger with fury. So this is talking about the very end wrath. Okay, we're talking about here now. Then, check this out. Verse 18. And I, because of their actions and their imagination, am about to come and gather all nations and tongues, and they will come and see my glory. 19. I will set a sign among them, and I will send some of those who survive to the nations, to Tarshish, to the Libyans, and to the Lydians, famous as archers, to Tubal in Greece, and to distant islands that have not heard of my fame or seen my glory. They will proclaim my glory among the nations, and they will bring all their brothers from all the nations to my holy mountain in Jerusalem as an offering unto Yahweh, on horses, in chariots and wagons, and on mules and camels, says Yahweh. They will bring them as the Israelites bring their grain offerings to the temple of Yahweh in a ceremonially clean vessels. That is the second Exodus. They're all coming from all over. They got their camels, their carts, you name it. They're all coming at the end. They survived that tribulation, and now they will enter into that millennium with Yeshua as king. That is the timing of the second Exodus. I had a question. Yes, sir. All right, you know what? He had his hand up first.
So you're talking about the correlation between the going to war and the year of rest?
Yes.
The marriage thing?
Yes.
How does that correlate with the 144,000 mentioned in Revelation 14, that they're virgin, firstborn males?
Great. Okay, here's the thing. If you look at the whole story of Revelation, okay, it's all summed up in one little sentence. It's a whole parable of two women. The bride, the harlot. Period. The bride is a Messiah. The harlot gets purified. That's it. Okay? And actually the harlot is going to be condemned if they don't get purified. And so the whole element of them being pure virgins, that's us. It's all spiritual. What did Yahweh liken his people unto as? Harlotry. Okay, why? Because it was spiritual harlotry. The whole element is we have to focus on what was those words used in the Old Testament and what they applied for. Same principle here. If we're to be his bride, they're virgins. Okay? Yes. You know what? I'm sorry. I had to get in first. Go ahead.
You think this is going to happen in one day then?
What will happen in one day?
Verse 20.
Where
they all come together.
Isaiah 66?
Yes.
It starts on one day. It won't happen in one day.
Okay.
Yeah, the resurrection is in a second. Okay? And then for what it's worth, I mentioned this in my teaching. I think I mentioned briefly in the birth pains teaching, which I just released 2 weeks ago, and in the timeline, the winter timeline teaching. Isaiah 24 talks about a global earthquake. Okay? And everyone, people are looking for the birth. Please watch my teaching, the birth pains. There's a complete misunderstanding of the birth pains. People are looking for the birth pains. You don't want to see the birth pains. Because, check this out. Isaiah 26 talks about, let's just go there real quick, all right? Isaiah 26 says this. We're around verse 19, if I'm not mistaken. Let me get there. Yes. Check this out. Verse 19 says, but your dead will live, their bodies will rise. Whoa, wait a second. That's a resurrection. Then it says, you who dwell in the dust, wake up and shout for joy. Your dew is like the dew of the morning. The earth will give birth to her dead. Then what's it say? Go, my people, enter your rooms and shut the doors behind you. I have a whole theory on that. We'll discuss that in a little bit if we get to it. The whole point is, here we see the earth giving birth to her dead. The earth giving birth to her dead. What are we looking for? The birth pains, right? Earth is giving birth. We're waiting for the birth pains. Now, let's go to Isaiah. What chapter was it? Oh, I'm forgetting it. I think it's 66, actually. Let's go to Isaiah 66. Oh, Father, I pray I'm right. Oh, here it is. Verse 7. Check it out. Before she goes into labor, she gives birth. Before the pains come upon her, she delivers a son. Before the pains come, the birth. We don't want to see the birth pains. That's why Yeshua said, pray you escape all these things and stand before the Son of Man. Make sense? Now, check this out too. Because it says she gives birth to a son. You ever read Revelation chapter 12? What does the virgin give birth to? A son. Revelation 12 is right here. Okay? Revelation is the prophets of. We're just going to find the links. Okay? And seriously, when I mentioned about the wings of an eagle, just do a word search, wings of an eagle, and you'll find how Yahweh takes his people to Babel. And he's taken the people of Israel, Judah at that time, I think. There's none of them believing Jews at that time. I'm sorry?
As he did in Exodus.
As he did in Exodus. Okay, now, does that make sense? I don't know what led us there. I had a question, and I'm rambling, so forgive me. You had a question.
I did. So on your timeline,
Yes.
right, you talk about, let's go back there real quick.
Yeah, I'm going to try to bring it up if I can. Okay?
So right there you have Yeshua takes the bride to Mount Sinai, right? That's, you're teaching the church of Philadelphia, right?
I do, yes.
And then you have the first
right here.
resurrection right there. That's where we see Thessalonians, right? The dead in Christ rise.
Correct. First
First.
Thessalonians chapter 4.
And then they go,
Mhm.
right? Well, in Ezekiel 20, as I mentioned a little while ago, talks about how he's going to meet with us face to face as he did our forefathers.
Correct.
At Sinai.
Correct.
Now,
Meeting face to face. Okay, did anybody hear him?
yeah.
Talk loud.
Yeah, so at that point, he says that he is going to separate, right, the sheep from the sheep, as he says in 34, but also in 20 he says he's going to purge the rebels from among us.
Yes.
What is your take on who those rebels are?
Okay. What teaching do I discuss this in? I discussed this in the Church of Philadelphia teaching. I discussed that teaching specifically. Okay. You know,
Because I've watched it and I just don't remember, so
I am 99.9% sure it's the Church of Philadelphia teaching. Okay, because it talks about that. You know, a lot of times someone will ask me a question, I gotta say, hold on a second, let me go watch my teaching and see what I believe. And so, because there's so much to them, I can't remember it all. You know what I'm saying? And so, but in that element, well, let's just go there real quick. What was the verse again you mentioned?
Ezekiel 20, and it starts in verse 38.
And one thing, Steve, we're gonna have to wrap up before noon.
Okay.
They're gonna have this room at noon, so.
Okay.
If you take this question and after that, you'll have to.
Okay. So we'll put
We
that
can take
back.
it offline if we need to.
Okay. Okay. Well, this one might take some time. Let me look real quick. What was the verse again?
Ezekiel 20, verse 38. Because he's bringing out both the dead that were risen, right?
Yes.
Now, those who died in Christ, right?
Uh-huh.
We assume that those who
Okay,
are,
yes.
who
Okay.
are believers.
You're right. Okay, here's the thing. There's the word in the NIV and most all of the translations. I bring it out in the teaching. I do address this in the teaching Church of Philadelphia.
Okay.
So, the word for purge there
Uh-huh.
is not a good word. Just for that,
Right.
the better word is to actually can be select. I will select you from the rebels.
Okay.
So this is the selection where he pulls his bride out from those of his overall body. So you can think of it
Is
as
that the Church of Philadelphia then?
yes.
Because these are all, it gives kind of the indication that they're all at Sinai.
I'm with you, but he's taking them to Sinai. These are the ones he takes to Sinai. Okay, think of it this way: the sheep pen. Okay, and then this teaching I discussed how. Oh man, it discusses the shepherd and how every tent belonged to Yahweh.
Sure.
Every tent that passed under the rod belonged to Yahweh. Okay, and this is the whole picture. And use this whole verse. I mentioned this in the teaching. This is where it's the tent of the body of Messiah. Okay, the true bride who's made themselves ready. That's the tent who will be with him at Mount Sinai. Every 10th one is mine. Every 10th one is mine. I select you from the rebels. Those, because if you're not purifying yourself in his eyes, you're rebelling. Okay, you're the for me or you're against me. We can claim them all we want. But if we hold on to any little hidden sin and we want to cherish it, purification is coming your way, baby. I'm just telling you, it doesn't matter how small it is. We want to be pure before him. If you don't purify yourself, he will purify you. I'm going to close on this note. Please see that teaching in the Church of Philadelphia, because I addressed that in detail. Okay. Smack, what was I going to say? Folks, the thing is this. Everyone wants to be part of the Church of Philadelphia. Everyone claims to be a part of the Church of Philadelphia. Do we know what the Church of Philadelphia means? It's called the Church of Brotherly Love. Philadelphia. You're sitting down, it's a good thing. If you aren't loving your neighbor, I can promise you now, you are not in the Church of Philadelphia. I'm just telling you like it is. And right now, this is a great thing to end up with. This is the ultimate test. I was talking to somebody the other day. Every single one of us, including me, all of us, will fall into one of the 7 churches when all hell breaks loose. All these things that we're going through, these hard times, these difficult times, this person hurt me here, I'm doing this here, they're doing that wrong here. These are the times of testing that He is testing us to see what decision we're going to make. Excuse me. What decision we're going to make. To love our brother or to not love them. To hold a grudge or to offer the hand of forgiveness. Because if we don't, you will not be in the Church of Philadelphia. I'm telling you, I've talked to so many people who have gone through so many hard times just in this last weekend. And we're all going through these times where we've been official. You know what? Do you know how many times you've all been hurt? Really? We all have been done wrong legitimately. We can probably take people to court and legitimately have an awesome case to win. Forgive. Is it worth it?
No.
And I mean forgive from your heart, not just words. Forgive from your heart. If you see them, love them. They need you. Yes, they've done you wrong. And you didn't do Yeshua wrong? You haven't done wrong? This is the ultimate test, what we're all going through. We are all going through this now. Make sure you make the right decisions every day. Every day we go through this stuff. And it's only going to get worse as time concludes. Let's pray. Father, we love you and we praise you. I thank you again for this time to be with your people. Be with us now, Father, as we continue on in this weekend. Let it be an awesome time for you. Let us learn and grow and love together. In Yeshua's holy name. And everyone agree by saying, Amen. Amen and amen.